pops on my head and said, do this. Every time I hit the wall, the word said, do this, do this. And luckily, I'm done. You know, when I'm done, I said, Father, yeah, I'm done. You know, I'm poor. I cannot do this. How can I do this? I have no money to print for it. And it takes at least $10,000 minimum to print 500 pages. Oh, 500 copies, should I say. I said, I'm done. What will I do? And then an angel just knocked on our door. It is before sundown of Friday. It is, what you call that in Hebrew? Rev Shabbat? Rev Shabbat. An angel knocks on my door and he gave me what? $15 check. And you know what he told me? Brother, print the Bible. Now, if that's not Father Yah, I don't know who that is. Because I know that man is not a millionaire yet. He will be, I believe. To give more. But when you open your hand to the call of the Father, that man can say, Father, remember what I did to Brother Roland. Yeah, why not? Can you imagine if the Father will tell to one of our brothers and say, have you considered my daughter Arani? My son Wes? That is so good. It's never been written in the Bible that Father Yah said to Satan, have you considered my son? None. I believe it's only Job. It's only Job. And what if you are the next Job? What if? Can you say, come on, Father Yah, try me? Every time I say a word, it says, be careful what you ask for. You know, I never asked to become a preacher. I never do. I am a diehard Catholic. And then I became a Church of God. I even became the youth president. They even grown me to become a minister, send me to their school. Because they said, I'm good enough. But I'm glad I'm not. Otherwise, I'll be the one. Well, probably it's good. But I'm glad it is not. You know why? If you are a minister of Church of God, you will ride like the Jonases. You will live like the Jonases. But I can't. You know why? There's one thing that changed my mind. We have a neighbor who is really poor. The father died, and they could not even find a means to buy a coffin. And the church never even gave a blink. That's changed my understanding of who really they are. Even though now, in my country, the Philippines, they are trillions of pesos with their assets. They are the richest among the church, even richer than the Catholic Church. And there's only one man who run that, a family conglomeration. Can you imagine that? And I'm glad I'm not part of that thing. Woo! I'm glad. My brothers and sisters, if there's one thing I can be proud of saying is that man, me, Minister Johnson, Brother West, we don't even get a penny from the coffers of the church. We don't. I can say that proudly. We don't. We don't dip our hands in the treasury of the church and spend it to ourselves. We don't. That's why your money is in Yah's hand. It's not our money. And besides, you said a while ago, it's His anyways, isn't it? So why hold that money and give it to the others who are really in need? Probably when I pass the hat, probably I'm going to what? Get $1,000 for today? In Luke, now take a look at this. In Luke chapter 21, verse 2, 3, and 4, Do you remember the story about this? Now, to those who are avid reader of the so-called Bible, but I will say scriptures, you should know that story, isn't it, Minister Johnson? That's right. Remember the widow and the Pharisee giving their, so-called offering to the treasury? The rich man gave a big amount. And then the widow and the poor woman gave just 2 pennies. Way back then, if you say the mites in there, the 2 mites is the smallest value of money during their time. So in our time, I will say penny because there's no lower money than penny, right? It's penny. So she gave 2 pennies. And then probably the people around them rejoicing about that man's rich man give it to the treasury, right? After all, that's a big amount. But our Savior said what? Did you see that 2 pennies that widow gave to the treasury? That is worth more than that big amount given by the rich man. Because it says that rich man gave only a part of his wealth. But this widow gave it all. What is that the meaning of that? When you give, it's not the amount that it's worth. It is the kind of heart that you gave in yourself. Did you give it freely? Or did somebody force you to give? No. Remember this one. You might give $1, which is big enough if that is what you got. You might give $1 million. If you're a billionaire, what's the point? All right? I'm sorry. All right? I'm picking some things from my students, huh? That was a story. Let me read it to you. And he saw a certain poor widow putting in 2 mites. Verse 3. And he said, truly I say to you that this poor widow has put in more than all. And verse 4, he said, for all these out of their excess have put in offerings for Elohim, but she out of her poverty has put in all that she had to live. So don't tell me that you cannot give if somebody needs help. You can if you want. No matter what condition you are, you can if you want. What if I cannot give money? Fine. Can you not give your compassion and say a prayer for that woman who are really in need? Remember, the prayers of the saint cannot be denied. It is our job that if a brother or a sister is in need in our midst, don't let that brother go outside the family and beg for somebody's help. We are putting our Savior and our Father in heaven in shame. Especially if some of us have the means to help. And I know we can. Why? Take a look. In 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8. Take a look at this. Why I say we can? Take a look. Verse 8. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8. And Almighty Yah, our Elohim, is able, what? To make all favor. Did they say suffice your needs? Nope. That he says. What did the word says? Did he just say suffice your need? No, it's not. He says what? Overflow towards you. Overflow, meaning you don't need it. You will have in excess. Why? So that you will have the opportunity to give. That you always having all you need in every way. See that? In everything you need, you will have it in any way. What will you do with the surplus? Put it in the bank. Buy stocks. Stocks are stumbling right now. Buy, go. Buy Amazon, buy Apple. At the end of 5 years, probably will be millionaire. That's what you're going to do? No. Yeah, you can if you're so wise. Remember that rich man? He said, oh, I am so rich. Self, come on. You are going to Caribbean and just go sit there with piña colada and you're going to see the girls dancing in front of you. Come on, self. You done. You did your work. Now you can have the rest of your life marrying, eating, and just get whatever you want. Is that what you will do? That's what that's what the rich man is thinking. But our Father said, fool man, tonight I will require your soul. Who is going to inherit your wealth? Are you going to give it to your son who don't even know what is left and what is right? I'm sorry. That's what we do sometimes, right? We just pampers our children. And I hate to say it, but we do sometimes. And have plenty for what? You see that? The excess that you got, you will use it for what? For every bling bling you want. Oh, I'm going to have my car so low and shine. I'm going to buy new tires. I'm going to buy whatever I want for my tire. Oh, it's look good. It is 2x4 and you want it 4x4. Baby, what will you do with that truck if something happens to you? Who will drive that truck? Your son who didn't even know what is left and what is right. It says, have plenty for every good work. That's the word, isn't it? And then in Romans chapter 15, verse 1, Apostle Saul is saying this. If you are Minister Johnson, you should know this. Right, Minister Johnson. But we, come on now, who we say we are strong, what shall we do? Are we going to puff ourselves and say, I'm strong? That's what you're going to say? No, it says what? Should bear, ought to bear, what? The infirmities of the weak. And I'm hoping nobody is like this. Not to please ourselves. If self kicks in, that's a bad boy in there. If there's one last thing that we, as we say, believers, is going to fight until we die on this earth, is ourselves. We are going to fight that self, what? Every day. That's why Apostle Saul said in his writings, I die daily. Because if I have